The Day of the Walloon region, or simply the Day of Wallonia, is the annual public holiday of Wallonia, the southern region of Belgium. It is celebrated each third Sunday of September and commemorates the participation of the Walloons in the Belgian Revolution of 1830. Come along with us as we visit this festival, and I give you some in-depth history on the customs and costumes of this unique festival. Held every year in the city of Namur, the festival is easily accessible from Brussels, as it is only about an hour train ride away. Walking from the train station, we dove right into the action. Right off the bat, we get a rare sighting of a horde of hayheads, and then there's this little flinger right here. It's actually kind of sad. I found out later that he is completely blind, and his parents told him they were going to a wedding. Hence all the rice throwing. The hayheads, though, are a staple in any Belgian festival, as it's from their hair that the brooms are made out of to clean up after the festival is over.
Okay, let's go.
You can also clearly see how much my wife is enjoying this. Pure excitement, pure happiness. Just compare this to this. Like night and day. Although that guy could have just farted. Here's a marching band, pretty self-explanatory. They march, they're a band. You're not here to see the marching band. Although, this is a much spicier variety of the marching band. And I have to say I'm kind of digging it. In case you didn't know they were playing music, their hats tell you, just there. Also, look at this guy. He's obviously having the time of his life. You shake that tambourine. Recalling a little known fact about the origins of the Belgian country, back in the day, Belgium was actually a pirate colony, started so that they could grow oranges to combat scurvy. What we know now, but they couldn't have known then, is that the soil in Belgium is actually much better suited for growing waffles. Here you see those early roots in oranges represented by oranges. And now here come the rum-tum-tummers. These men are wearing traditional medieval armor from the Wallonia region. Believe it or not, their clothes are actually packed chock full of candy. That's what gives them their lumpy appearance. When an enemy would hit them with their sword, the candy would spill out onto the ground like an oversized piñata. Then, when the foe bent down to pick up his prize, boom! The rum-tum-tummer would kick him square in the face with his oversized and misshapen wooden shoe. Up next we have a gaggle of big birdies, or La Grande Flappies, as they're known in French. They're generally pretty peaceful and fun-loving, but they are also a celibate group who generally hate children. They also despise flags of any sort, so a kid waving a banner is pretty much the equivalent of spitting in their face. And you can see that here as this birdie gets ready to devour this small child. Here we have the king and queen of Namur and their faithful horse, La Fiesta. Of course, these are just oversized replicas, but it's worth noting that the hole in the queen's abdomen is actually historically accurate. See, the king commissioned some doctors to install a window of plexiglass in his wife's belly so that he could check the sex of his next child. That's how they used to do things before ultrasounds. Look it up. These witches. You can't have a Wallonian festival without witches. No, literally, you can't. It is illegal to have any kind of festival in Belgium without at least 3 witches being present. In America, we did away with that archaic bureaucracy during the Salem witch trials. But here in Europe, you still very much have to cater to the local witches. Luckily, these ones seem pretty friendly. Maybe except that one. Now this is a rare sighting. This is the pretzel pervert, or pervert de pretzel. He comes around with his perverse paddle and gives your bum a little rub-a-dub-dub. It's supposed to bring you happiness and health, but this guy definitely looks like he's got ulterior motives. Ah, now here's an example of how rampant consumerism is ruining the traditional nature of this festival. This gathering used to be all about celebrating the past, the historical roots of this great region, but it's slowly been morphing into a showcase of corporate greed. And here's a prime example. These people are clearly shills for the Quaker Oats Corporation. And if you listen, oh yes, certainly. That's the theme song for oatmeal. Disgusting. These are the Wallonian army men sporting the latest breakthrough in technology in Belgian firearms. These muskets recently replaced slingshots as the go-to weapon of the armed forces. And here we have a photo op with Dino DeLorean, the president of Stiltwalkers Anonymous. Dino's not doing a great job with the whole anonymous part of his job, but he sure has a pretty smile. We followed the musketmen down the road a little ways until they stopped and started loading their weapons. Naturally, whenever you see someone packing shot into their musket, you'll want to stop and have a look. But during their careful preparation, this happened.
That was extremely loud.
He shot it at me.
Now, obviously they did not intentionally fire a musket at my wife, deafening her and spraying her eyes with hot gunpowder residue. But we just have to remember that this is new technology for these people. They haven't got all the kinks worked out yet. Once the offender was straightened out, the firing squad was able to perform their 600-gun salute flawlessly, making sure to point their firearms directly at the onlookers. Finally, we made it to the river, where the main event was taking place, water jousting. Here, the basic idea is that two boats paddle as fast as they can, headlong at one another, while a man on an elevated platform tries to knock his opposing number into the water. Sounds epic, right? Wrong. However, just nearby, we found the real main event. This was the Stilted Death Match, Junior Edition, where 24 children try their best to knock each other off their stilts until only one is left standing. Watching kids topple to the concrete while war drums and the shouts of angry parents fill the air is definitely an experience. It soon became apparent that one boy was head and shoulders above the rest. Literally. We'll call this kid Tubby Lunchbox, and he looked like an NFL linebacker playing football with peewees. Eventually, it happened. You can run from it, you can hide, but inevitably, Tubby Lunchbox will find you and knock your ass to the ground. He was the last one standing and showboated accordingly. Meanwhile, one of his victims was preparing to have his arm amputated. Well, that's it for us today. Hope you found this educational and entertaining. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.